This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to On Deck here on C2C Entertainment Network. I am joined by Greg and Crispy Bacon. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys?
Oh, very good. How about you, Chris?
Doing good. Not too bad. How's everybody doing this evening?
Tired. Hey, make sure to follow us. On Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Give us the stars rating on Facebook, and then follow us on YouTube and Instagram and all of that good stuff. And Chris, if you could put up the schedule of the shows, and we can go through those real quick. I think we'll have Between the Ropes coming up tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific, I want to say. And then tomorrow they should be having Bro Code at 10 p.m. Pacific time. On Monday, Tuesday, look out for 7 p.m. 7 a.m. Pacific for the what am I thinking? Oh yeah, Rankum C2C at night. We'll see if Callan will be there. Shout out to him. It was his birthday, I believe, on Friday. I think was his birthday. Chris?
That was yesterday.
Yesterday. I'm way off. He's closest to where I am. Sports Minute on Wednesdays, Kicking It on Thursdays, Roundtable. That will be back on the 31st, Friday, to take over Entertainment Hour. So next week, Entertainment Hour will be there. Oregon Cougar football will be next Saturday. How did it go against the Pioneers, Chris?
I need to look it up. A couple people were out, so we didn't have the game live, but
oh, I remember. Yeah,
it's quite a link, so I'll look that up here.
No, that's all right. Yeah, hopefully Amy Barber will be okay and recover fine. I know she had some health issues, so Adam, has more on his plate, definitely. So it's just a tough time, and hopefully they get through it. We're all pulling for them and hoping it all goes well. Just unfortunate things going on, definitely. All right, we'll get to our team reports. And Greg, since you're a Cardinals fan, we'll get to you first. I'm trying to remember, who did they play this weekend and how did it go?
I've been following more like hockey and the NBA action the last couple weeks, so I don't even remember who we were playing. But it's not going too good. I mean, I think that we're probably in the bottom 5, bottom 6, maybe in the league right now. Just not looking too good. Not putting up a lot of runs. Just not playing very sound baseball, not coming up with a lot of close wins or anything. So it's just kind of looking like a bleak season so far. And
it's weird to say that about the Cardinals, and we'll talk about them more later on. If you saw the script, Greg, hopefully you'll have a solution to fix these St. Louis Cardinals, because it's weird to see them.
I don't know if they'll listen to me or not.
It's weird to see them like this. I mean, they had a standard that really isn't there anymore, to be honest. Last week, I can tell you they played the Angels. And the Angels somehow The Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from them. And then they lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox at home. They lost. No, I'm sorry. They took 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox. They lost today. They're trying to go for the sweep. But the schedule only gets tougher for the Redbirds. They take on the Orioles, the Cubs, the Reds, and Phillies to end the month and start June. That is very, very tough. That's a tough schedule. I don't know how the Cardinals come out of that. That is going to be very, very tough. Chris and James, well, Chris and me, I should say, we played each other this weekend. But who did the Rangers play before the Angels, Chris, and how did they do? Oh, you're on mute.
No, I think Cincinnati was the opponent last week. I thought.
Let's see.
I know this week's the Angels.
Oh, the Guardians.
Okay, Cleveland, yeah. I think they.
It looks like, yeah, they won 2 out of 3. You did get after losing 4 in a row, or no, 4 in a row. You did win on. No, I'm sorry, 5 in a row. 5 in a row. You shut out the Guardians on Wednesday. We had Thursday off, and then the Angels came into town. The Angels took 2 out of 3, and it seems like something's going on with your young pitcher Jack Leader. Remember, they called him up, they sent him down, then they did it again, and they sent him down again. It feels like they're bringing him up just too soon. From the minors. What's your thoughts on him?
Right? It's like a lost cause right now. I know he's going to get better. I know he's the future, but right now, as far as that goes, it's like a lost cause.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I still remember his first start earlier this year. It was in Detroit, and he fared okay until a point, and that'll happen. To go through that Ranger-Angel series, Friday was pretty good for the Angels again. 9-3, the Angels won. Was it Willie Calhoun, the former Ranger, came in and has done well off the street or off the free agent market for the Angels. It's been weird with the Angels missing, 5 starters in their lineup. It's just been a mix and match of, whoever's healthy can play. And they're young guys too. Yesterday was crazy, Chris. There was a 3-2 loss for the Angels. The 13-inning affair in which the Angels left 18 runners on base. 0 for 18, with runners in scoring position, I should say. It was only 2 solo home runs that had the Angels scoring yesterday. I mean, that game took forever, and I was watching that one. Today, though,
extra innings.
Yeah, it went 13 innings, and every inning the Angels kept leaving people on. It was so. Again, they were 0 for 18 with runners in scoring position, and with the ghost runner. All of those innings from 10 to the 13th, it was just really, really awful. Just stranding them at third, getting thrown out at home, or just not even getting them over to third, which is embarrassing. It's just ridiculous. But then the Angels today, they had a good start by Jose Soriano. They won 4-1, so they somehow win 2 out of 3 in Texas, and that never, ever, ever happens. I mean, last year that didn't happen. Like I mentioned, they played St. Louis before, so we're all connected. The St. Louis took 2 out of 3. Now the Angels do the second part of the 2-step. They go to Houston to play 2 night games, 1 day game. And then they face Cleveland at home. I should be at that Saturday game on Saturday against Cleveland. And then the Yankees come to town before the Angels go to Seattle to finish the month and go to June. And June will be tough as well. So it'll be very, 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 very tough for the Angels here. All right, so let's get to some games to note this weekend because there was some pretty good matchups. Now, the Braves and Padres. Now, they were rained out yesterday. The Padres did win Friday over the Braves. Tonight, on Sunday Night Baseball, the Padres did win 9-1 in a shocker, I think, for most people. Yu Darvish had a great start for the Padres. Tomorrow they'll have a makeup for Saturday. They'll have it since both teams are off, luckily. That's why there's no doubleheader today, which was weird to me. I thought do the doubleheader and get out of town. But yeah, the Padres won 9-1, and then they'll try to sweep the Braves tomorrow, which just seems weird because the Rockies swept the Padres earlier this week in San Diego. The Rockies, who are in last, and then they go sweep the Braves and take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, or they're trying to sweep the Braves. It's just amazing to see. The Reds and Dodgers, I think they played to a split there in LA. Dodgers did win today in 10, 3-2. The Diamondbacks won 6-4 in Arizona. The Giants swept the Rockies 4-1. The Pirates and Cubs played, and that was an interesting three-game series. Paul Skeens made his second start, and he got his first win. He had 6 no-hit innings. He was very, very good. And the Pirates took 2 out of 3 in that one. The Astros are starting to get a little bit hot. They won 9-4 over Milwaukee. The Royals are continuing to surprise everyone. They beat the Oakland A's 8-4. They're 10 games above 500 are the Royals. It's amazing to see. The Mets and Marlins, New York won 7-3 today. Guardians continue to stay hot. They beat the Twins 5-2. And then up in Canada, the Rays lost to Blue Jays 5-2. Tampa Bay started to get hot as of late, and the Yankees continue to power up. They win 7-2 over the White Sox. Judge, Soto, and Stanton have been so powerful for New York. The Nationals won 11-5. The Phillies beat Washington 11-5 there. The Orioles defeated the Mariners 6-3. That was a high-spirited event there. And again, the Red Sox avoid the sweep over the Cardinals 11-3. And of course, the Angels won 4-1 today. And did any series pop out at you, Chris? How about you?
No, I mean maybe the Houston series because division rival and all that, but no. Overall,
And I gotta watch them because that's the next opponent for the Angels coming up tomorrow. How about you, Greg? Was it old times playing against the Red Sox in the World Series, rematch, or any other series pop out at you?
Well, I think it's just there wasn't a whole lot of series that was popping out at me, but I'm just kind of amazed at this point, in the season to see how well the Guardians are playing. They didn't have too high of expectations. They don't have like the greatest, on paper hitters in their lineup, but they do have really good starting pitching staff. They have a lot of young arms. They have pretty good bullpen, and they're just playing really good ball. They're not lighting the world on fire. They don't have 5 or 6 guys that are going to have 20, 25 plus home runs in their lineup like the Yankees. But there's just a team that's just kind of scrappy and has good pitching. So anytime they're out there, before the season started, I used to be able to think, okay, well, there's a loss for the Guardians and there's a loss, but they're picking up some of these close wins. So anytime they have a series, I'm thinking that they can win 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4.
And for me, I'm looking at that Baltimore-Seattle series just because J-Rod right away robbed a home run on Friday. The Mariners went on to win that one. Of course, the Orioles won this today, I should say. So it was a battle of the youth there. That was really fun to see. So yeah, looking at the standings real quick, we'll start in that AL Central because that was pretty amazing. That the Guardians are a game and a half ahead of the Royals, which is amazing themselves. Both have won 3 in a row, by the way, Cleveland and Kansas City. You take a look at the Twins. They were hot. Remember, they won 12 in a row at one point. I think a couple of weeks ago it ended. Well, now, sorry Big B. They've lost 6 straight and are in third place. Still 2 games above 500. But even with all that ground being made, they lost ground just like that. Detroit at 500, they're starting to slip just a bit. They're only 1 game above behind Minnesota in the wild card, but it's too young to say that. The White Sox are 14-33. They picked up a few more wins last week, but they're on a 3-game losing streak. Now the AL East keeps going back and forth between the Yankees and Orioles. The Yankees now have a 2-game lead over Baltimore after Baltimore lost Saturday and Friday. So again, Seattle took that series really bad, unfortunately. But the Rays are 8 back. The Red Sox are 9.5 back, and the failing Blue Jays are 20-25, 11.5 back already in the AL East. They're starting to really fall. We mentioned Seattle; they're a game and a half ahead of the Rangers in first place. Houston 4 back. The Angels and A's both at 7 back, right where they should be. For the National League, you look at the Phillies and the Braves. Phillies have a 4.5 game lead, surprisingly there. The Mets and Nationals are fighting for third. They're both 12 and 12.5 back, respectively. Marlins are 19 games back. They're just right there with the White Sox, basically. The Central, we look at them, and the Brewers are still at first place, 2 games ahead of the Cubs, 6 ahead of the Pirates. Cardinals 7 games back, and then the Reds have sadly fallen to 8.5 back. They're not doing as well as we thought. Same thing with the NL West. You look at the Dodgers, of course, first place, and then it's everybody else, just like the last however many years, other from 21. Padres 8 back, Giants 8.5 back. The Diamondbacks are 9 back. They're kind of the same situation as the Reds. And Colorado already 15.5 back in last place, despite sweeping San Diego last week. So you take a look at these divisions. I'll start with Chris. Do any divisions pop out to you? Anything surprising? Anything really disappointing?
I think it's a running, not a joke, but running commentary here that the White Sox maybe. But other than that, no.
Yeah, they were supposed to be bad. They're 16 back of a good Central for once. Remember last year it was like Cleveland and everybody else. But this year you have Kansas City doing well. Minnesota, again, only 2 games above 500, better than where they were a month ago. How about you, Greg? Any surprising things stand out when you talk about the standings here?
Well, I was expecting in the NL Central for the Cincinnati Reds to be a little bit better than what they're doing. Last year they had a pretty energetic team. They brought Ellie De La Cruz up. This is his 2nd season now. I was expecting big things, and he's not doing too badly, but that team's just out of sync. I mean, they have decent pitching, but sometimes they can't stay healthy. They have a really great arm in Nick Loloto, but they and Andrew Abbott, but they're just a team that's very inconsistent. Sometimes they win some games that they have no business being in, but for the most part, they've just been very, very inconsistent. And I thought they'd be a little bit more scrappy and a little bit more put together at this point.
Yeah, they had a very, very tough road trip out here on the West Coast. They, again, had issues with the Dodgers this weekend. They lost, 2? No. I think they split that series. And then they see the Dodgers next weekend. So it's really unfortunate. I know they won Thursday night. The Dodgers have won the last 2, Saturday and Sunday. And then Friday, the Dodgers won. So they did lose 3 out of 4 on this West Coast road trip. The next series starting on Tuesday, the Padres come to town. So it only gets tougher for the Cincinnati Reds, who, again, underperforming young. You do have Green. Hunter Green is really good, but kind of odd thing. I think for me, the most surprising division right now, it's definitely got to be that Central, just because of the Royals there. You expect Seattle and Texas and Houston to come back, and it's no surprise about the NL West. It honestly isn't. All right, so there was news on Tuesday that broke about of what's his name here? Ronel Blanco. He's the one, of course, who threw a no-hitter, I think, in May against the Blue Jays. It seems like the Blue Jays keep getting no-hit every year. But he got fined. He got a fine, undisclosed fine, and he also got a 10-game suspension for a foreign and sticky substance on his glove on Tuesday. And the funny part about it is that he got checked before he came out for the fourth inning. He got checked, and the umpire who checked said it was the stickiest he's ever seen hit a glove. And it was just amazing. And because it was a banned substance, he was fined an undisclosed amount, I should say. So it's very, very odd. And you wonder about that no-hitter, how much it was, or what no-hitter perfect game, how much that affected that. If he had that substance and somehow he got away with it every other inning, I guess. But finally, we have someone get caught with a sticky substance. And unfortunately, is one of the hit makers of this season so far. Greg, what was your reaction to Blanco getting that substance and then the 10-game suspension?
Well, I think it's a little bit ridiculous. It's something that Major League Baseball has been cracking down on and been looking into for quite some time. I mean, it's not uncommon every season to see at least 10 games where the umpires are going out checking to see, checking somebody's glove or checking to see if maybe they have a file or something going on, or if they're doctoring the ball. So, these players know better than this. They know the difference between right and wrong, and they know what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. And it's kind of interesting that, there's some pitchers that do get away with it or a little bit more discreet. It sounds like this guy had no idea what he was doing, putting on something really, really over the top, sticky. So, I mean, he deserves to get caught if he's going to be that blatant. Definitely, if he's going to be that blatant about it. But I think it's disrespectful to the game, to go out there and try to doctor ball. If you can't get people out with your arm and with your technique and your skills, then you don't deserve to be out there. So, kind of reminds me of the old movie Major League from 1989 when an aging pitcher put Vaseline and everything you could find on the baseball. He said, I don't have a live arm like you guys. I have to do what I need to get by. Well, I don't think this is the case. This is a young kid. This is trying to get away with something and trying to give himself an advantage. So I think it's unfortunate that it happened. It took away from a great on paper no hitter, but now you're kind of wondering, okay, well, as much as he was doctoring the ball, did that add more spin or decrease the spin or cause batters to miss when they would have been making contact? So I just think it's pretty disgraceful to the game.
Yeah, and the 10 games, it might seem a lot, but it really isn't. It's, 2 starts plus, the days missed and all that. And then the undisclosed fine, I would think it'd have to be, over 10,000, I would say.
If you're going to punish like a starting pitcher, then it should be 10 starts, not 10 games.
That would be tough. Wow.
Yeah, that's just 2 times through the rotation. So.
Well, that's why they have the PED suspension, where they have what is it?
Like 45 days or something, or
damn, I can't remember. It's 50 and then 80, and then you're banned.
Yeah.
So they have that in place for the position players that I know of for sure. but that's for PED use. For pitchers as well, I guess. But it's different with the Gabe's pitch, like you said. Chris, what was your reaction to the Astros cheating again, allegedly?
I know Rangers fans are gonna go, what's new, first, but they also need to figure out, the Astros, what can we do not to have issues? We can't have any more issues. Our reputation's already tainted, so to speak, and now it just continues.
And it's funny how it is the Rangers again that it happens to, and they can never get over that 2017 shadow and what happened, the years after that as well, the Tuve, and people are loving the downfall, of course, of them so far this year. Remember, Jose Abreu was already down in, I think, lower than single A. He's in rookie ball trying to get better. And that's just weird to say about someone who makes so much money at first base. But he's been hitting that, awful. And you can see Bregman not doing as well. So the Astros really, really struggling here. All right, so let's get to some of our, topics here. Some of our fun lists here. So try to put together our favorite top 10 MLB players of all time. And it's really, really tough because you have your favorites of your team. And maybe I'll just do a single one next week. But I just did whatever team and whatever time. And I think, there might be some shockers for me. But, Chris, do you have your list?
I do, and I kind of went all over the board. No particular order, like a position or anything like that. So, and I'm sure this list is going to have all familiar names. So we're going to go with number 1, Babe Ruth. Number 2, Willie Mays. 3, Hank Aaron. Number 4, Ted Williams. 5, Ty Cobb. 6, Lou Gehrig. 7, Mickey Mantle. 8, Walter Johnson. 9, Stan Musial. I don't know. And 10, Jackie Robinson.
Wow. That's a historic list that you had there. All right. Yeah. Greg, what's your favorite top 10 list?
Well, I'm not going in any order, but I have Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, Roberto Clemente, big time power hitting third baseman Mike Schmidt. I have Ken Griffey Jr., Roger Clemens, Mickey Mantle, Cal Ripken Jr., Barry Larkin, and Stan the Man Musial. And to keep my honorable mention with the Cardinals, I got to go with the ultimate weapon, the secret weapon, Jose Oquendo. He wasn't a standout player, but the guy could play all 9 positions. And he did, in fact, I think in the game, I think he played all positions except catcher in a single game or something like that. So I got to give a shout out to Jose Oquendo. He didn't put up anything near Hall of Fame numbers, but he was a guy, jack of all trades, master of none, classy guy for the Cardinals. So
I like that because I do remember him as a first base or third base coach for you guys forever. I'm trying to remember.
Well, he started out at first base, and then he ended up the third base coach. So I mean, he's just a guy he's been there from day one, and he just kind of never left. So
that's what I thought.
So he was kind of a staple on those 80s those 80s teams, those Whitey Herzog teams, the small ball, get them on, get them over, get them in kind of team. So
I remember watching. I don't know if it was during the pandemic or last summer or two off seasons ago, whatever it was. I watched a lot of those '80s, playoff games when they played the Giants, when they played the Dodgers, when they played the Royals, when they played the Mets in those years. Some high stake games. They ran, with and Whitey Herzog, I believe, passed away before the season too. So I remember like when the Angels honored him that opening day or home opener. But I was amazed watching those teams because they would send Coleman and send McGee and Clark would hit. And I'm trying to remember whom else, but Pedro Guerrero later on. And they had some good pitchers for sure come through there. None really notable, but they all were really good. All right. So my top 10 list is pretty California driven a little bit with the Angels and Padres, but there's also more there. Tony Gwynn, definitely, when I try to get a base hit, I try to emulate him. Gary Anderson with the Angels. He was my favorite player growing up for sure. Darren Erstad, great outfielder for the Angels, rough and tough guy. Mike Trout of the Angels now. Bob Gibson, the former Cardinal pitcher back in the day. I just loved how him, Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, and more about Drysdale and Gibson, they pitched with intimidation. They were not afraid to go inside. And everybody knew what they were doing. And they didn't get offended by it. Now you get any pitch inside, there's little words exchange, and it's like, sissy stuff. But back then, Bob Gibson was never afraid to throw inside and was always ready to make a batter move out of the way. So I really enjoyed that. Nolan Ryan, he was, threw the fastest pitch at 108 allegedly. Had so many strikeouts, wins, and walks that went with it. He's almost like the Brett Favre of the MLB in a way, without the championship. Ken Griffey Jr., just as a kid, I wore number 3 because of him. Even though he wore 30, I can have 30, so I had 3. When he was traded to the Reds, that's when I played a lot of ball, and I had 3. Pete Rose, the way that he played the game was just amazing. It's, dive headfirst into any base, really. Never afraid to take out a catcher. Even in a All-Star game, he did that. But the way he hit, he had the most hits ever. Just amazing. It's unfortunate he's not in the Hall of Fame right now. Then to the side of him, Joe Morgan, just a professional hitter, clutch hitter in the playoffs as well back in the day. Became a great analyst, just like Pete Rose did, doing MLB forever. And he was amazing, and I really enjoyed listening to him and watching highlights of him. And then just like you mentioned, Jose Oquendo, Sean Figgins was an Angel like that, where he played second, short, third, left, center, right. I don't think he ever caught or played first or pitched, but he was just like that, where you could depend on him every day, and he could bring, 6 or 8 gloves to the ballpark every game, and he'd be ready to take on a challenge. And he got really good hitting, really great base running, especially young on that 0-2 World Series team. So love to have someone on him. All right, Greg. So this topic I put up because it's just puzzling to me, and we talked about it before the show, me and Chris did. How do you fix the St. Louis Cardinals? Because you have, Goldschmidt at first, he's a free agent. Do you trade him? And then you have Arenado still on his contract. So what do? Do you trade him? What do you do about the young guys like Mason Wynn, Jordan Walker, who you sent down multiple times, and you have all these other players that you brought back, and you have all these starters who are pretty, getting older. And then how's your farm system? And how do you get back to the Cardinal way? And we were trying to think about that.
Well, I think first and foremost, when you have a player like Goldschmidt, a Gold Glover, hits for a lot of power, makes good contact, has a good swing, and can still field the ball pretty well. You got to figure in, how much is it going to cost us if we re-sign him, and how much, are we going to save if we were able to trade him somewhere. I know that there's been interest. I've heard that there's speculation that the Yankees are kind of they would like an upgrade. I think at the first base position, I think that they would love to move on from Anthony Rizzo. I think that he's a likable guy, but I think that the Yankees are trying to figure out a way to maybe get a little bit more consistency from that position. I don't think that they're exactly happy with Rizzo in his performance, even though he hasn't played that bad for spurts of this season. So there might be a potential trade partner with the Yankees, who are very interested in upgrading to a Goldschmidt. So we could take on a Rizzo and a little bit less money. I think we'd be losing a little bit in the talent, but since there is a little bit of a difference in their talents, I think that we might be able to get kind of a 2-for-1, or maybe some cash considerations or something as well, from a trade package like that. And so that we wouldn't have to pay that hefty price tag. I've also heard that the Cardinals are even looking into shopping around Arenado, which would mean an absolute complete rebuild to get rid of Arenado. Now, as far as Jordan Walker is concerned, Jordan Walker was a guy a few years ago that was lighting AAA on fire, and he was too good to stay in AAA. But then when we picked up Arenado, the Cardinals didn't know what to do with Walker, because Walker's natural position is third base. So when we took on Arenado, we also needed to bring up Walker, because he wasn't getting tested. In AAA, he was smashing the ball. He was ready for the show, but we ended up having to move him to the outfield or find a spot for him elsewhere. And we didn't really want to move him to second base. And so, and then we had Gorman, who was also a third baseman, and we had to move him to second base. So we ended up having 3 natural third basemen, and we had to move one to second, one to right field. They're both playing out of position. Gorman's taking better to second base than Walker did to right field. But I think that you have some trade pieces there where Walker may just need a change of scenery. You may need to move on. I think that you definitely keep Wynn in the mix. He's a very young talent. But I don't want to see the team get completely dismantled. I don't think they need a complete rebuild, but I think that maybe moving on from either one of Goldschmidt or Arenado, and then maybe pick up 2 or 3 people or prospects might be the best way to go. And of course, all these guys that we have that we basically signed for 1 year. Lance Lynn isn't pitching the greatest this year. We just have like aging arms. We need new arms. And I think that we signed some of these guys just for kind of like a victory lap, like this is your guys' final hurrah. This is your last season. Everybody's going to get the wooden rocking chair at the end of the year kind of thing. But it's really stalling our season, giving these guys one last chance to kind of finish up when some of them should be being moved on right now. And I'm not trying to be insensitive to guys that have played their hearts out for us over the years, but I think that there's a little bit too much sentimental value in some of these players that we sign that aren't producing. But it's hard to send them down at this age, and it's hard to try to shop them around in the middle of what's most likely their last year. So I think that, unfortunately, I don't see a lot of progress coming this year, but hopefully after this next season, when some of these guys retire and everything, maybe free up some space and we can go out and get a few people and maybe get out of a huge contract, because Goldschmidt and Arenado have huge contracts that eat up a lot of our payroll. So I think one or the other needs to go, and I think that the Cardinals are willing to shop either one at this point.
Yeah, and I gotta mention this on Halos in the Infield, the group I work for the Angels. They did a comparison of the Cardinals and the Angels and how both organizations have been going as of late, and it's eerie how kind of similar they are. The last couple of years, I know the Cardinals have had more success as of late than the Angels have, but just the way they have 2 stars and they have a mix of old and young players, and then how just it's not working out and what needs to happen are trades and going better. So it's almost the same thing with the Angels with the Cardinals right now. So if you have time, Greg, check out Halos in the Infield, and it's one of those newer videos that we've made. I'm not in it, but a couple other guys are in it. How
And
they compared the Angels and the Cards.
I think the biggest difference, like you were saying, is the Angels rode a long time with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, and Trout's been very inconsistent lately. He's his career's kind of taken a weird kind of like King Griffey Jr. kind of turn where he put up numbers, MVPs, but now he's getting the injury bug season in and season out. And I think that the one thing that my Cardinals have going for them is that even when they're not playing the greatest in baseball, they still seem to be able to put people in the seats. So people are still coming and supporting the team, even if they're not doing the greatest. So at least they do have, pretty, the fan base is not fair weather over there. They're going to stick with the team, but I think I think even the best of fans are getting a little, and most patient of fans are getting a little tired of what's been happening the last season and a half, 2 years or so.
Yeah, I know that'll be a thing because the Cardinals are said to have like the best fan base and the most respectable, the smartest fan base as well when it comes to baseball. I just had to get your thoughts on that. Some other things, some other news. Shota Imanaga, the rookie pitcher from Japan for the Cubs, he's beaten the old feat of Fernando Valenzuela in his 9 starts. He has the lowest ERA ever in his first 9 starts at 0.84, which is just amazing in this time of launch angle, whatever the case is. He has a 5-0 record in 53 and 2/3 innings pitched, 58 strikeouts, and a whip of 0.91, which is just amazing for the Cubs. Remember, they needed someone to take over for Marcus Stroman, whom left to the Yankees via free agency. So that was a big pickup for the Cubs, not really knowing what they were going to have. And then another story here, Giants outfielder Luis Matos, Friday and Saturday against the Rockies, had just a dream of 2 games. Not really cycles, but he had 5 RBIs on Friday, 6 on Saturday, so 11 total those 2 days, and he only had 6 the whole season until then. It was pretty amazing. Today, however, he did go 0 for 4 and struck out, but you can remember the 2 days he had and just be shocked as hell. I can't remember a time that a player, in consecutive days had 5 and 6 RBIs. I guess other from Nate Colbert against the Padre against the Braves. I think when I was saying 72, he had a doubleheader where I think he had like 13 RBIs in the doubleheader or whatever it was. It was amazing to see. Chris, have you ever seen anything like that where a player had two great games back and forth? I can kind of think of Corey Seager, but I can't remember the numbers right now.
I haven't. No, I mean that's pretty rare, and I think we may not see that again, but who knows?
I know, with the Cardinals, you right away think about Fernando Tatis Sr. having the two grand slams in one inning back in '98 against the Dodgers in LA. But you ever have anybody have two great days like that you could think of?
No, I remember when I was a kid, probably 13, 14 years old, there was this guy from the Boston. I think he played for the Boston Red Sox. His name was Joe Horn, and I think he ended up hitting like 6 home runs in the first week of the season or something like that. And then I think he finished the season with about 15 home runs. So,
Wow, they figured him out.
yeah, everybody thought he was on pace for about 165 home runs, after week 1.
I hate that on pace stuff. Another story, and this one kind of it shocked me in a way, but I'm thinking about this because remember the Rays started something in 2018 where they had relievers start games, so it was the openers, and you really haven't seen that as much late. But what teams have done was turn relievers into starters, and Jordan Hicks is one of those guys this year who has done well. From the Cardinals to the Giants being a starter. The Angels have that with Jose Soriano being a reliever, and then they worked out with him on being a starter in spring training. It seems like he's taken it and ran with it. But for me, guys, I'm trying to figure out, is this going to be a long-term solution for the struggling relievers to become starters? We saw that with, John Smoltz, how, he, was a reliever, turned into a starter, back to a reliever. We've seen, of course, in the postseason where starters come in, late innings and try to get the outs, the last outs like Kershaw and Bumgarner. Kershaw wouldn't work out, but Bumgarner would. So we've seen this before. But for relievers to turn into starters, especially young ones, I can think it's really, really tough. What about you, Greg?
I think that for some relievers, I think that it would be probably better for them to become starting pitchers, because I think that it kind of messes with your mind a little bit when you're a relief pitcher and you come in and then you only face one batter and then you're out, or then someone else comes in, but then they decide to put in a right-handed hitter instead of a left-handed hitter. So then the manager comes out and pulls you and makes another switch. I think it'd be kind of mind-boggling to get pulled after giving up a hit or just pitching to one guy and kind of never getting in the groove. So I think that going to a starter role, where they're just like, okay, go out there, throw some strikes, see what you can do, and not have to worry about the manager coming out every 3 pitches and making adjustments and stuff. I think that would suit well for some of these relief pitchers, because some of these relief pitchers only come in and get about 10 pitches. So they never really do get into a rhythm or get to show what they can do. So I think that in some cases, I think it might work out really well. I think that there's other starting pitchers that throw really hard, but they're not meant to go 6-7 innings. So maybe it would be better if they were kind of a middle reliever or a closer, because they throw really hard but they don't have enough finesse. So I think it kind of works both ways. But I think that for some of the pitchers that kind of, if it clouds up their mind getting pulled all the time in between at bats or something like that, I think kind of a change of pace and just getting the starting nod might boost their career a little bit.
How about you, Chris? What do you think about this with relievers being turned into starters and the quick turnaround like that? How much would it take a pitcher to adjust to being in the game longer, do you think?
I would say at least 5 games, 4 or 5 games. If they want to, if they're asked or want to be, put in the spotlight as the main starter. But I'm sure it's confusing, like Greg was saying, to be like, oh, you're gonna, relief in this game, and then they're saying, well, no, you're not. We're gonna pull you from the game, and I'm sure it's just all confusing, and hopefully something like that can be, stopped or prevented, and maybe one day the backup can be one day part of the solution. For the most part.
What I like about it too, it's just another chance for that pitcher to get seen. And with all these Tommy John and elbow surgeries, there's less starting pitchers out there. And then the team either has no choice and gets a free agent somewhere, either has to pay more for someone, like we saw finally those free agents getting signed, Snell and Montgomery, or they go the cheaper route and just try to find someone that will, take that challenge. It's pretty cool to see. All right, so the Armed Forces Day was Saturday, and all weekend long, the MLB honored active service members, veterans, and military families with the black hats, with the designs on it, with the logo in gold, and then I think certain teams or certain players wore the socks out there, the black socks, I want to say. And then also on Memorial Day, MLB will join the nation remembering and honoring those who have died to this country, and we'll see if there's a camouflage hat for that or if they'll keep the same ones. But it's been a thing they've been doing for a little bit now, but they also added, merchandise to it. Greg, what do you think about MLB continuing to do this?
Well, I think it's great. I think that our servicemen from past and present need to be honored. I think that it's a great thing to pay respects for those who have fought and served for our country. I think that I commend the MLB for taking the steps to honor the troops and honor those that have fallen, and I just think it's a really good thing, and I hope that it continues. I hope that it's a forever thing. I think that it's something that needs to be done, and I would love to see all sports pay respects to those who have served, past and present. So I think it's really, really awesome thing.
How about you, Chris?
Yes, it's very cool that they do that. Whether you have, family or not in the military or armed forces, it's good to honor them in any way they can. I know different leagues do stuff like that, and it's just nice to see.
Okay, so on Friday night at Dodger Stadium, the Reds and Dodgers were playing, and outfielder Spencer Strider fouled a ball back, and his twin brother Trevor caught it. And I just thought that was so amazing because those stories you never really see. I know Bobby Wood Jr., I think in Texas last year, fouled a ball off, and his dad caught it in a suite. It was just amazing to see this story here. Other from that, have you guys seen anything like that, Greg?
I think last year there was a brother that was pitching and he struck out his brother, and then later on his brother got hit against him or something. So a couple brothers, I think, faced each other. Also, we saw King Griffey Jr. and his dad, Ken Griffey Sr. They ended up playing a season with the Mariners together and was in the same lineup. So it's pretty cool. But the father-son moments and father-son or relatives playing against each other, it's very, very far and few between. So it's something to really remember and and take account of when you see it, because it's just something that doesn't really happen all that often.
And also that year, 1990, I believe it was, when Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. were playing, they both hit home runs right behind each other against the Angels there in Anaheim. What other family moments can you remember, Chris, for something like this?
I don't remember that ever happening to my knowledge. Maybe I have, but I think that's kind of interesting. You striking out your brother or catching an out against your brother, but I haven't seen it. No.
But catching the ball in the crowd, your brother's
Yeah.
right behind home plate like that in the second level, and the
I haven't
family
seen
is there watching him too. That's just pretty amazing to think. Also, remember Peacock used to have Sunday morning baseball. Well, not anymore. There's a new free place to watch baseball every Sunday this season. Well, it's a free one now. Peacock, you had to pay something, I know, for that. So you could catch your favorite MLB action with Roku for MLB Sunday Leadoff now, streaming free on the Roku channel every Sunday morning. So that's really good, because we found out, of course, with the NFL, the 2 Christmas games you have to get Netflix for. You have to get Peacock for something else. And, it's going to cost you so much to watch every game if you really wanted to out of market. If you're a certain fan of a certain team. And also, I think MLB.TV is doing a special thing right now. Instead of $129.99 for $69.99, you can pay for MLB.TV to watch all the games not in your area, and then $59.99 for just one team that isn't in your area you can pay for. So, Chris, what's your thoughts about MLB going on Roku for free? And I know a lot of people have that since they cut the cable cord.
Well, I'm okay with it. I have Roku, and so I mean, free. I like free.
Yeah, I don't know if I have. No, I probably don't have Roku. Maybe I do. I don't know. But Greg, what do you think about this? Will you be watching?
I'll definitely be watching. Now I have streaming services. I don't have cable, and there used to be a point in time where you could just plug in your TV and you'd have ABC, NBC, PBS, Fox, WGN. You get about 10 channels just by plugging in your TV. It definitely during the analog days, and then they switched over to digital, and you had to get a digital converter if you wanted that, or rabbit ears or something like that if you wanted to be able to tune into anything locally. So right now I'm missing out on some NBA playoffs and stuff like that that's on ABC. So I'm definitely going to catch some baseball because right now, I'm just catching right now what comes on Paramount, which is CBS, and Peacock, and Netflix doesn't have much except the Tyson fight coming up. So I definitely think it's a good thing, because not everybody's into cable, not everybody's into having big bills to have, to pay for TV and everything, when they can just go a cheaper route. So I think it's a good thing that Major League Baseball and Roku are kind of working together to give this option to people that might not want cable but still want to tune into baseball.
Yeah, and you can still find games on Fox every Saturday, or almost every Saturday.
And don't forget too that, and they announced it too, that I think ESPN, Discovery, like Turner and all of them, and Fox. So Fox, ESPN, and Discovery are going to have their own app for
I didn't
sports.
know that. Wow.
That'd be great as long as they're able to throw in TBS too, since TBS has hockey.
I think
Mhm.
that's part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been a fun series here for hockey and NBA. All right, so then last topic here. I don't want to talk about Isaiah's team, but I guess I have to real quick.
Which
So Mason Miller, of the Oakland A's, 25-year-old closer for the Oakland A's. He's been dynamite this year. No wins or losses, but he has 38 strikeouts, a WHIP of 0.62, ERA of only 0.93 in 15 games. He's been so amazing. He made his debut last year, but didn't really pitch as much. But he's been getting the saves. He's been really good this year. 8 saves so far out of 8. So he's been really dynamite in that point. He tried to be a starter last year and he went to reliever. So he did the opposite of what we were talking about last year. Anyway, with all the stuff the A's are going through, moving to Sacramento next year, and you can't be called Oakland. Don't say Oakland. Teams are already inquiring about trade talks with the A's rookie. And he has 5, I think, more years under control. Now, maybe 4 of those years, he'll have a Tommy John surgery so he can't pitch. It's just inevitable because he throws 102, 103, 101, triple digits. Eventually, he'll need another pitch and he won't throw as fast. Eventually, that's going to be a thing. But for the Oakland A's to already be shopping a rookie like this, explosive one, it further hurts me to see an organization just not care and just try to get whatever they can for who's ever hot right now. And let's just say Miller doesn't, go as well the next couple of months and he gets traded before he has his slide. Man, that team is going to be screwed, whoever has him. Now you just have a talent that doesn't really, fare well. So, Chris, what do you think about this? The A's are ready, trying to maybe trade their young closer, not even making it to Vegas, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if it will help. I mean, the team's going downhill, relocating and then relocating. So I don't think any of that matters.
What about you, Greg? Because it just seems like they don't care. The organization, they don't care about their future. They're just trying to get to Vegas and not trying to spend as much or have as much right now.
Well, the owner really needs to leave. Okay, the owner is probably the biggest problem in the Oakland Athletics organization. You got a guy that's just a penny pincher, doesn't want to spend any money, doesn't want to invest in any money, in anything. He's already has a sight set on Las Vegas, basically shunning the fans. The fans don't even want to show up anymore unless it's a road trip. They might go on a road trip. They don't want to go and support the team locally. Many don't, and it's just sad because we've seen it through the years where the Oakland A's, 10, 15 years ago, they were building something good. They were always in the wild card or making a playoff spot, but then they'd get a really hot guy like a Jason Giambi or somebody, and then the next thing you know, they'd be selling them off to the highest bidder. So basically, the Oakland A's has become kind of like a place for the haves in the league, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, these type of teams that have money and are willing to invest. The Braves, with Olsen, basically to just pick the cream of the crop from the A's, and then leave them with nothing. So anybody that's kind of all-star talent or any player that puts up decent numbers and then is looking at a potential big paycheck the next time his contract comes up, the A's just get rid of him instead of paying the guy what he deserves or what he's worth. They just sell him to the highest bidder and then start over. So that's why the A's are in the situation. They're just kind of like a gerbil on a treadmill. They're not going anywhere. Every time they get something good or someone starts to pan out, they just give up on them or just send them somewhere else. And I don't think it's really fair to the fans, that are looking forward to an improved season. You're thinking, oh man, we're going to be looking good. Oh, what happened? We got rid of Olsen. Why is Giambi gone? Why is why is Chapman gone? We were a playoff team. Now we're a AAA team again. What's going on? So I think that the ownership and the powers that be that are running that organization are running it into the ground. It kind of reminds me of the old Major League movie where they're all excited. If the team tanks, we're all moving to Florida or we're all moving to Vegas, and they have their bags packed and they're just hoping for the team to fail so they can get to wherever they want. But if they were true owners, no pun intended, they would gamble on themselves and make the right investments and take chances on getting better players and trying to build and build a better team instead of just trying to save as much money, because you're putting out a bad product and they're not reaping any rewards for it because no one's wanting to watch them.
Yeah, that will never play in Vegas. If you go cheap, you'll end up, off the strip and out of town. I definitely guarantee that. All right, so we'll get to our final thoughts. Chris, what's yours?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. On Deck should be on here about an hour or so. So tune in
Between the ropes?
Yeah, Between the Ropes.
How about you, Greg?
My final thoughts is there's a lot going on in the world today, and I think that it's important for people to do their own investigating and figure out the truth and not rely on the media or the social media for 100% of their information. I think it's important to always keep your eyes open and keep your ears open, and just not take everything for granted that you hear and see.
And keep reaching for the stars. All right, folks, we'll get out of here. Thank you for watching On Deck. Be sure to subscribe to all the C2C programs. See you next time on Deck. Later, folks.